Mr. Agnew, you have the floor.
Thank you. Well, this is a really, really important issue. We all know people who wouldn't be alive today if it wasn't for antibiotics. And if those bugs become resistant, then those people would die. So it's very important that we do talk about this. Can I just give you my perspective as a poultry? Well, I'm an egg producer, but obviously that is poultry and birds. And we are free range. Now, a lot of people think that's the right way to go, that this is getting closer to nature, and everyone thinks that's twee. Can I just tell you about a problem that we have got? We discovered that there was dirt getting into our water system, and it was causing problems, and they were being put right by antibiotics. It took a long time to trace where this dirt was hanging in the drinking pipes, but we got on top of it. But what we find is that we let the birds out in the morning, and they go to the nearest filthy, dirty puddle they can find. This is what they actually do. And so they pick up infections from these disgusting puddles. And they do get disgusting after 4 months of winter and rain, and they scratched all the grass away. This is real life. Now, we would like to be able to say to the vet, well, can we keep the birds in and say until midday so that they have all their food, they drink most of their water from the nice clean water that's there, then we can let them out. But that's actually against the free-range rules. You can't go on and on doing that. So these are real problems. I hope I've really presented you with that, because we get a problem, we go to the vet with a dead bird and with feces and that sort of thing. They prescribe an antibiotic, we put it in the water, and hey presto, within 2 weeks the egg production's going up, the mortality's going down. If I couldn't do this, I don't think I could take this job on at all. And it cost me £150,000 a year to buy my birds. And for them to go down with a disease because I couldn't treat it with antibiotics, I just can't bear the thought of it. So what can be done? I mean, I'm glad Mr. CARTHY's raised the thing, but he's talking about stick legislation. If there's a law that says, Mr. Agnew, thou shalt not use antibiotics, I'm out of the industry. Simple as that. If, however, there is a carrot there instead of a stick, so instead of these Pillar 1 payments going to your friend in Ireland, what's he called, Ming? Yeah. That there is a fund so that if somebody gets, they have the decision to make, am I going to treat antibiotics or am I going to cull these birds? Because I can't just leave the situation as it is with them getting more and more unhealthy. You know, Mairead was saying that there are animal welfare things here, issues to consider. So that then you cull the birds and you get a payment. I mean, that's one perspective. I'm sorry, Chairman, am I going on too long? It's a very interesting debate. I'll try and be quick. We must get support from supermarkets if we're going to try and go down the route of not having antibiotics. They've got to support farms that do this. And what about breeding? What about, there's a difference between resistance and tolerance to a disease. There are wild birds out there that are actually quite tolerant to problems that we would need antibiotics for. We have GM technology. We could take the genes from those wild birds and put them in our chickens, and they would get these diseases but recover from them. Something to think about. Thank you.
We don't want to shut any farm down, neither Mr. Agnew's or anybody else. And it is true that there does need to be what you might call a carrot and stick approach. We need to provide supports for farmers and for the wider sector in terms of implementing the measures that are necessary, but we also need to protect human beings and animals from the overuse of antibiotics, and we need to ensure that the levels of antimicrobial resistance are brought down if possible.